Attention in the boarding area. Y'all haven't said it in a long time. LTO, a year off almost. So, I've been helping other people with their brands, doing a lot of things while I've been off. And the question keeps coming up about my brand, about what I'm passionate about, what I like. Aviation, travel, planes, exploring, going to see the world. Someone asked, when did I fall in love with travel? When did I fall in love with planes and going out to see the world? Taking other people out to see the world, sending other people out to see the world. And it took me some time to think and go back, talk to my mom, talk to my sister, my older sister, trying to figure out exactly when. Always. Short answer, always. I can remember living in Gilbert Gallum's housing project in Memphis, Tennessee, and we were just talking about it on Facebook today. I was joking. I was the weirdest child in the projects. I was the one that Carmen Sandiego was a major influence. Magic School Bus was a major influence. I wanted to see the world. I wanted to explore. I wanted everyone else to see the world, and I wanted everyone else to explore. So I would drag my friends with me, the few friends that I did have, or I would run little experiments in the house. I don't know how she managed it, because we didn't have a lot. We just didn't. My mom made do with what she had. She managed to make things happen. So even living in the projects, we had a set of encyclopedias. And I would sit on the floor and read those dang encyclopedias cover to cover, learning about everything and everywhere in the world, where I would go, because we lived in the housing project, Gilwell Gardens, Memphis. It was on the landing side of Memphis International. So all day and all night, especially at night, we would see FedEx planes coming in. Northwest Airlines planes too, but a ton of FedEx planes would be coming in at all hours of the night. And my mom worked nights at FedEx. So while she was at work, and she fussed about it because she knew, I would sit up and I would look out the window and watch planes come all night. And I would tell my brothers, or I'd tell myself if they weren't willing to listen, because they were fed up with it, all the stories about where these planes would possibly come and where these people were coming and where they'd be going and where I was going to go when I finally got on a plane. I didn't fly for years, but my brother, we ended up moving to Memphis because my brother was a St. Jude patient. And he would tell us stories about his flights before we moved there, when he would initially fly up for his St. Jude treatments. And I would make up all these different stories about these different planes. My mom would come home and tell us stories about, she was a ramper. Gosh, being in aviation. When you're traveling, you look out the window and you see the guys, the people, guys and women, putting bags into the planes, your bags. We call those rampers, ramp agents. My mom was a ramper and she worked overnight. My mom and my stepdad were rampers. They worked overnight at Federal Express, FedEx now. And she would come home and she would tell us stories of all the different things. I used to love watching her get dressed to go to work, because if it was really cold, she had to put on these big overalls and she had to put on all these different clothes and steel toe boots and just gear to be out there. And she would come home and she would tell us stories about different things that would happen on the ramp, different things that they would bring in. One time they brought in an anaconda for the Memphis Zoo, and somehow the anaconda got out on the ramp. One time they brought in fiberglass. I don't know what the fiberglass is for, but they got it out and it got into everyone's skin. And it took days to get their fiberglass out of her skin. Itchy, itchy. There was another time they were transporting money, I guess, and somehow one of the crates fell and money flew out over the ramp. Do not listen. If that ever happens, if you're in a situation even similar to that, like that time the truck flipped over in Atlanta, it looks like free money. It's not. Stay away. But in her telling those stories of all those things, it just fueled my excitement. It fueled my imagination about where people were going, where things were coming from, what could possibly be done with planes. These things were going all over the world, coming from all over the world. And I guess as I aged, not having access to travel for some time kind of put a damper on the idea. I never lost the bug to travel, but it kind of changed a bit. So as I got older, I still explored, still did experiments, still watched planes. I never stopped looking up to the sky. It's a major part of who I am. I never stopped looking up to the sky. I guess, I don't know. Since I've been in aviation, people have told me some of us, it's just who we are. We belong in the sky. We're travelers, wanderlust, a strong desire that never goes away to explore, to see the world, to be out and about, maybe taking other people with you, maybe going alone. And now I'm in a position to where I can do something that not too many have done. I looked up and I work for an amazing airline now that has allowed me to travel through benefits. I'm on long-term time off due to COVID-19. I took the package for long-term off. Long-term time off. And one of my friends works for another airline and does something called TDY. It escapes me right now what TDY stands for. So, I've told you how I became obsessed with the idea of aviation, planes, and travel. My first trip, technically, my first trip was moving to Memphis. My grandmother drove us from Miami to Memphis to move with my mother, who had already moved there. Remember I told you my brother was a St. Jude patient, so we ended up moving to Memphis because my mom decided that it would just be more advantageous to stay there. My brother was in and out of St. Jude on a regular basis. My first trip, actually, outside of Memphis, I can't even remember what year it was. It was, I was like 12, 11 or 12. And we were in the church choir. Shout out to Olivet Baptist Church. Memphis, Tennessee, Orange Mountain, Memphis, Tennessee. We were in the youth choir, and the choir was taking a trip to Chicago, Illinois. We had money. But the church had it set up that you could be sponsored for your trips because they got it. exposure, opportunity. Miss Eddie Mae Williams was, I had met her a couple of times when I was running around church doing different things, sometimes getting in trouble. But when I was running around church doing different things, I had met Miss Eddie Mae Williams. Small, petite lady, not petite in character at all. She sang in the choir, and she had gray spots of hair, either right here or right here. I can't quite remember. It was close to the middle. That every Sunday, she would have it slightly tinted, the color of her outfit. And I thought it was the coolest thing ever. You wouldn't really notice it until she was up in the choir stand singing, or she was walking around and the light would hit it just right, and it'd be barely purple, barely teal, barely blue. And I don't know, she chose me. I don't know what she saw in me, but she chose me to sponsor me for that first trip. And as it turned out, she sponsored me for multiple trips from then on. So, I guess I could say an angel that put me into travel was Miss Eddie Mae Williams. Thank you. I will pay it forward. The first time I actually got on a plane, I remember it like it was yesterday. I remember running through the airport. This was pre-9/11. I'm a little bit older, not much, don't act crazy. But this was pre-9/11, so you could run through the airport at that time, all the way to your gate, pretty much. And we'd been living in Memphis for a while. I think we moved into Memphis in 92. It was 2000. And we were doing a little bit better. And my dad, my stepmom, it's always weird calling them my step-parents. I usually just call them by their name. They've been there for so long, forever. But they wanted to see us, and we hadn't been home in years. So we drove from Memphis to Nashville. We drove, like I was able to drive. But we drove from Memphis to Nashville and took a Southwest Airlines flight, because Southwest was the affordable airline at the time. They have competition now. But Southwest was the affordable airline at the time. They didn't fly into Memphis then. Northwest owned Memphis. But we took the trip to Nashville and flew from Nashville through Tampa, through flights, through Tampa and on to Fort Lauderdale for the summer. It wasn't a lavish trip, but it was a plane. And I'll never forget that flight. I guess you could call it 2 flights. I don't know. But it solidified for me that I belong in the sky. And since that time, I never stopped traveling. Whether it was plane, train, or automobile, I needed to be traveling. At any rate, so we took a Southwest flight to Fort Lauderdale for the summer, and then back to Nashville, where my mom picked us up and drove us back to Memphis. And then we did it again the next summer. And maybe after that, don't ever expect me to stop traveling. And here I am now. My little sister actually calls. She's like, "Where are you now? Send me pictures. Let me see." She called the other week actually. I was in the Sunneran Desert between Las Vegas and Phoenix. And she knows I'm an explorer. She knows I like to go out and see things and take pictures and be out in nature. So she fussed about me not going to touch the Joshua tree that was on the side of the road. It was only about 20 yards, but she convinced me that a rattlesnake might come out and get me, and she's nowhere near me. I like this life, and I want to expose other people to it. Travel it used to be a luxury, but thankfully airlines and other means exist to open travel to more people. And I want to show people the world of travel, the world of aviation, inside and out. There's a big world out here. You weren't meant to stay where you were born. You weren't meant to stay where you are at this very moment. There's a whole world out here, and you have the right to go out and to be a part of it, to explore it. And I want to increase that knowledge and increase that awareness for people. The housing project that I told you guys that we lived in, we weren't supposed to make it out of there. We weren't supposed to dream and imagine that life could be more than what it was at that time. And I'm stubborn. I admit that I'm stubborn. I'll probably deny it and regret this later, but I admit that I'm stubborn. And I've always been that way. You don't tell me that I can't, because if I can find a way, I will. And from looking up at those planes to getting in them, I haven't been on the FedEx plane, of course, because I'm not a pilot, so I can't jump seat. Jump seat means, we'll get into the definitions and stuff later, I promise you. And of course I can't get on Northwest plane because Northwest doesn't exist. Well, they don't exist as Northwest anymore. I've been on quite a few planes, been to quite a few places. My first trip out of the country was to Mexico with my dad and Bunny for a graduation trip. And I know they're probably like, this boy has not sat still since then. I haven't. In undergrad, I was an athletic trainer, traveling. When I worked in the clinic, traveling. It's just who I am. But I've been to the mountains in Montana. I've been to the desert in Arizona. Been to Des Moines, Iowa now. All of this in the last year. Small places, nothing major, due to COVID-19, of course. And this is the life that I've been wanting to live my entire life. So next up, you could drive the boat. I'm gonna fly the plane. Not sure exactly how this is going to happen. It's not cheap. That's probably why only 2.7, somewhere under 3% of pilots in the world are black. And I never saw them growing up, but I looked up and I'm surrounded by them now. I actually was on Clubhouse talking to them earlier. Cool people, very cool people, very helpful people. So I'm excited to see what happens. I'm a bird. So let's see what this goes like. Let's go up and see what's up there. I'm a bird. I better stop saying that because if somebody calls me a bird, I might not like that. But some of us were meant to travel. They call us nomads, they call us wanderers. But some of us were meant to travel, and it's always been a part of my life. Travel fascinates me. Exploring the world, seeing different cultures, different foods, different musics, different architecture, different environments, plants, animals. It excites me. And sending people to do the same, taking people to do the same, excites me. So I'm a bird, but I don't have wings as of right now. Definitely getting my wings. Let you guys know how it starts, and I'll keep you guys updated on the process of getting to those wings. Until then, thank you for flying with me, and as always, we hope to see you soon.